Oh shit, here we go again. After the expedition to find Mothman, you accompanied Ford on a few other missions, so to speak, examining various birds of the forest, including the questionable stomach-faced duck, who snatched your sandwich and quickly ran off, Ford in hot pursuit. While he didn't find what evidence he needed, something to do with their digestive systems, you both decided that the stomach-faced duck block were questionable. Not as questionable as the question quail, which he shows you from a scanned journal page, but still questionable. You asked why he decided the octopus was too stupid to study, but received a loud groan and too sticky as an answer. Valid point. All in all, your adventures with Ford have been more enjoyable than you'd expected, and you can't help but hope that you'll get to experience another one with him soon. You walk through the living room, lost in the thought about question quails and Ford's journal pages, and narrowly avoid slipping on a sheet of graph paper. Ah, don't look! Oh shit, is he masturbating? Oh, it's you. Dipper peers out over a book that proclaims DD and more D, officially licensed campaign journal. He's sitting on the yellow armchair with the crisscross legs barricaded with books and papers. He's got a lap of multicolored dice, a half-dozen chewed pencils strewn across the floor, one in his mouth. I look down and notice the floor is almost entirely covered in graph paper. Hi. Did you need something? I know it's kind of messy. You should probably clean that up. Dipper looks reluctant to extract himself from this self-constructed fantasy lore prison. Here, I can do it. You look busy. You're about halfway through cleaning the floor before you actually start looking at what's on the various sheets you're holding. A fantasy map, some floor plans, and countless scribbled notes and calculations in the margins. What are these for? Planning something? Dipper's re-immersed in his plan. He startles a little when you ask. Oh, right, no big deal. It's for this great pen and paper role-playing game called Dungeons, Dungeons, and More Dungeons. DD and MD for short. It's all about fantasy worlds and statistics and swords and, well, it's kind of difficult to explain. It's super fun. I'm playing it with Uncle Ford today, so I'm just putting down the final touches on my dungeon. It's going to be so stumped. Stumped, you say? Ford comes into the room at that precise moment, drying his hands on his trench coat. Perfect timing, Dipper. I just managed to get the paint off my hands. Paint from what? Oh, one of the gnomes came by and decided he'd graffiti the side of the house. Something about his rapper persona. Is that fucking Emma Gnome? Yeesh. Yes, I don't think Jay Gnome Easy is going anywhere in the music business in any event. I see you've been hard at work. You ready for our game? Yes, and Red Ranger. I can take those now. Thanks for the help. Ford looks like he just noticed you standing there for the first time since he entered the room. Red Ranger, glad to see you weren't too shaken up by our adventure yesterday. You grin and hand Dipper the tall stacks of papers, catching a glimpse of the stats for a knock-knock skull. Well, I made it back in one piece, right? That's the spirit. Though 90% of a piece would have been good too. No, you never realize how little a difference 10% makes until you lose it. Uh-huh. So how's the Mothman? Shaken up. All in the name of research, though. I've seen it lose a few moths and come back the next week when it's new. A process akin to cycling out dead cells. I would say we just expedited that process. No moral issues there. Well, Mech Ranger, the game calls and I must answer. Stanley's about if you're looking for him, though. Well, if you wanted to join our game, I certainly wouldn't object. I can promise a full afternoon. Another player. Yeah, totally. I can give you a pre-made character sheet to start. Dice. Shoot, where did I put my other set? Don't worry, I've got an extra set. I don't even know how to play. Oh man, there's so many rules for to start. It's really easy to pick up. It's even kind of popular. I'll think about it, Ranger. Dipper, my boy, why don't you and I get things set up in the meantime? Ford and Dipper launch into fantasy lore talk as they prop up a cork board against the yellow armchair, put up various maps and floor plans with immortal landmarks, important landmarks, and upend their pouches of dice onto the carpet. Play me a little motherfucking board. Great. Oh shoot, did you look at the plans earlier? These are for Dungeon Master's eyes only. If only I'd known you were going to join us. Oh, don't worry, I know all your plans. Haha, very funny. Well, do you? Uncle Ford, do you think they... What? Sorry. I was rereading this passage on dwarven architecture. They really improved their illustrations. Well, I can't say the same for their prose. Tipping forward with the final pieces in their place, the floor is encircled in a midst of propped-up corkboards, books, maps, notes, and loose-leaf paper. Wood unfolds a game board in the center of the madness. Brilliant. We're all ready. Don't look so nervous, McRanger. You'll have me here to walk you through it. Wood sits down next to the game board. He pats a piece of the carpet next to him, inviting you to sit, and you do. Dipper sits across from you on the other side of the game board and unfolds an illustrated piece of cardboard, propping it up in front of him. He looks at your question and engaged on it. He looks back at you. Oh yeah, this is the Dungeon Master's screen. It's just there to protect my secrets. It hides essential die rolls and plot points from prying player eyes. Uncle Ford's tried to look ahead once or twice, and spoiled a narrative twist. You're the only player. I'm just making sure my dungeon mastering apprentice stays on his toes. He can never be too vigilant. Dipper gathers up his dice in a pile next to the DM screen, ready to roll when needed. Now I mentioned an extra dice set, didn't I? Dice are an important, though by no means essential, component of gameplay. No adventurer should leave the house without a set. I keep mine in the souvenir velvet dice bag from Tumencio local game store. Yes. Ford retrieves a dark drawstring bag from his coat and empties it onto the floor, where dice of all different shapes and sizes come tumbling in. And now for yours. Ford pulls another matching drawstring bag from the depths of his coat. You're having a buy one get one discount. Go ahead, take a look. This will be yours for the session. Pour these dice onto the carpet as well, metallic gold with all the numbers embossed in black. Fancy. Well, I didn't have enough left to make them from solid gold. I was able to electroplate a set for fun. Right, Uncle Ford? You electroplated those dice? They're so nice. I didn't mean to rhyme. Maybe you should be the one with the rapping career and not J. Gnomesy. Ford and Dipper laughed. Yeah, maybe not. But anyway, let me reintroduce our characters. Dipper clears his throat, settling into the Dungeon Master persona. When we laugh less at our heroes, Miv the Meddling trapped the great elfin wizard Vernon and the halfling fighter Tyros in a dungeon filled to the brim with puzzles, riddles, and brain teasers. To reach Miv and end this journey once and for all, we'll have to brave the dungeon's mysteries and escape with their lives intact. Dipper sets two figurines side by side on the game board. One is an imposing figure in flowing robes, and the other is much shorter in comparison. The poser will will to prove himself. We suppose the former is Vernon, and the latter is Tyros. But what would our two heroes find in the first room of the dungeon? A potential ally, just as trapped as they are. Who will join them in their quest for freedom? Dipper places three figurines on the carpet, just off the side of the game board. And you get to choose your character now, McRanger. These are starters with pre-made templates, so they're good for short notice editions like this. Holy shit. Oh god. Human Bard. Might I seduce the motherfucking dragon? Duelist Fighter. Or, you know, fucking the dragon. Fucking the dragon. Fucking the shit out that dragon. Lords use invigorating songs to encourage their allies, or the blow of their insults to damage their enemies. I've kind of reevaluated my stance on bards lately. They'll come in handy if we encounter any undead. Will we? Maybe. Hey, stop trying to play ahead. You give me one fuck yeah. I'm a donkey for shredding fucking the shit out of that dragon. Dipper moves your figurine on the board, besides Vernon the Tyros. Alright, what's her name gonna be? Alex, short for Alexandrios. Hear Ford trying Alexandrios out under his breath a few times. I'll just call him Alex. Here's your character sheet. It's got all the info on it. Our heroes encountered Alexandrios, Alex for short, in the first room of the dungeon. Alex, What's your deal with our main villain, Myth? Man, I just woke up. Alex explains how he struck Miv's ire, and in turn Hero shares that Miv once bested him in a duel. An embarrassment because Miv is a sorcerer, and sorcerers aren't known for their physical combat skills, and Hero's defense. He was still young at the time. None of this matters because to finally face down Miv, they must escape. Oh shit. Behind you is a plain door. On the far wall of the room is a set of red doors. On the left and right are old stained glass windows with weirdly familiar motifs up. Having woken up here with no recollection of getting here at all, you have no way of knowing which door you came in, go out of, or even what direction you should head in at all. And now you guys decide what you want to do. You might want to look around first. And by that, of course, we mean rolling a die to see if we can notice anything. The outcome of nearly every substantial choice we make is tied to a roll of the dice. Let you choose what to do here, Michelangelo. What does it say there? Some caution moves. Take me a little look around. Wood shows you where to roll for the investigation check, and Dipper flips through his notebook, ready to tell you what you see. Nice roll. Back to one of the walls in this room is a note that reads, "Proceed with caution, homies." Heroes pockets the note. In the distance, you hear the faint sound of rushing water. What do you do next? What's the state of the door behind us? See for yourself. I'm still the DM. I can't respond unless you check the door. Ford casts Detect Magic, and after confirming with Dipper that there is no magic behind the door, pushes it open. The three of you leave through the door. Nice. As the last of you step through the doorway, it melts, seeping into the wall as if it were never there. Guess we're not going back that way. The chandelier overhead ignites, casting the room in a warm orange glow, and revealing an impressive door on the far wall. In front of it is a large cloth-covered lump. What's under that motherfucking cloth? You roll for investigation, just like earlier. You approach it to inspect it. As your footsteps grow nearer, the lump shifts, rising to reveal that it is in fact a goblin. Goblin these nuts. The goblin stands to attention. He tries to pretend it was never asleep. Travelers, I notice thee, and demand you answer these riddles 3. What kind of riddles we got here? The goblin reaches into his pocket, pulling out a crumpled piece of paper that he unfolds with care. What has 88 keys but can't open a single door? You got this one. Oh, piano to me. Next, what has keys but cannot open doors? Wait, I know this one. Lackey. That's not what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like the Lord of Keys. And finally, what is the first thing you did on your adventure? Look around. The door is now open to you. Fabulous homies! Ooh, hell yeah. The goblin steps aside to let you go through the doorway. With that, you've cleared my goblin puzzle. Well, the fourth of them anyway. Could have gone so many other ways. Dipper then beams follow. Dipper then beams, and you follow his line of sight to realize it's because Ford just gave Dipper an encouraging smile of his own. As soon as you enter this next room, the wall melds over the doorway, sealing you in. Glancing around, the far wall of the room seems to be different material and color than the rest, though it could just be the lighting. To the left, you see rows of lights affixed to the wall. You look at it, and it confirms that it's a different color than the rest. Can I knock them? You see Dipper give you a small smile, knowing what you're looking for. You knock along the wall, and find that one section sounds hollow. As soon as you realize that, the next knock opens up a gap in the wall, which reveals itself to be a door. What's in that door? As soon as you enter the room, you're struck by how different it looks from the rest of the dungeon. This small chamber is elaborate, with colorful cushions, rugs, and a dining table that holds a half-eaten feast. Next to the feast, a mouse examines a few empty goblets on the table. The mouse sees the party and beckons you to come into the room. There's been a crime. Somebody's stolen my precious silver sword. You three look like heroes. Won't you help me? When I arrived in my room, I found these three suspects: a gnome, a kobold, and an owl bear. I knew someone was going to come and try to steal my precious sword, so I set up a wondrous feast as a trap for thieves. You and Ford share a look at the idea that the mouse would somehow be living it up in an evil sorcerer's puzzle dungeon. I left on 3 goblets. The first held a truth serum, and the other 2 a lying serum. I don't know which one of these creatures drank from which, so I was going to hold an interrogation when they woke up. And now you're here, you heroes. Won't you help me figure out who stole my sword? I'm afraid that if I uncover the culprit, they'll slay me in cold blood. Delicate mouse that I am. Well, alright. Took the words right from my mouth, McRanger. Let's get on with the interrogation. You approach each sleeping creature in turn, waking them up with a few shakes and asking them who stole the silver sword. The gnome says, I didn't do it. The kobold did it alone. The kobold says, I didn't do it. The owlbear did. And the owlbear says, I didn't do it. The gnome did it alone. One creature drank the truth serum, and the other 2 a lying serum. The gnome said, I didn't do it. The kobold did it. The kobold said, I didn't do it. The kobold did it. That's right. Fucking hate riddles. Shit. Gnome did it alone. I feel like that's like the key here. So these 2 both said you did it alone. Which leads me to believe this one's important somehow. Oh fucking no, bro. I'm bad at riddles. Shit. So if the kobold did it alone, and the gnome did it alone, and then one of them drank the truth serum. These 2 drank the lying serum, and this one, the truth. Fucking owlbear did it. Not quite. Fuck. So it was either the kobold did it alone, or the gnome did it alone. Oh, God. I blame the gnome. Not quite. What? 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 The owlbear is telling the truth. The gnome is a liar, and the kobold participated in the robbery, contradicting the owlbear's confession. I get it. The kobold should be telling the truth. They didn't steal anything, and the owlbear did. And that means the gnome was lying when they said they didn't do it. So if you believe the kobold, the gnome and the owlbear committed the robbery together. The gnome and the owlbear. Nice job. Don't ask the village. Nice job. I'll cough up the sword, you thieves. The owlbear digs with their feathers to reveal an ornate, polished silver sword, and the gnome retrieves a matching scabbard from under their hat. Just a fucking little gnome with his pointy ass hat with an entire scabbard under it. The mouse looks down at the returned sword happily, and then looks at the party. I realize now that keeping this sword is more trouble than it's worth. Here, you have it. I've only ever used it as a conversation starter because it can only cut through silver. Perhaps with you, it'll finally have some use. Doesn't make any fucking sense. The mouse bestows the silver sword upon your party. You move forward, leaving the mouse's room behind, and come to another doorway. Oh god, no, not this. No, please. You glanced forward to notice that he was watching you figure out the puzzle the entire time. Well, that was fucking embarrassing as shit then. Even if you weren't too good at it, before you make eye contact with him, he turns his head, facing back at the game board on the floor, and... Pinnacle Ford, are you okay? Oh yeah, Stipper, fine. Why's your face so red? Oh god, now he's sweating. You take a second look, then, and find that Ford indeed looks a little red. Ford stammers his way through. It's a little warmer here. As you ask if he's alright, you guess wearing a turtleneck in the summer will do that to a guy. Oh god. But Dipper raises his brows and is surprised. He writes down something in the margin of his notebook before clearing his throat to continue the campaign. Through the doorway, the air feels damper than before. The sound of rushing water from earlier has only intensified. On the wall to your left, you see a bell. I ring the bell. It may have been a trap, or it may have been the right thing to do, because the floor opens beneath you and the three of you land in a boat. It hovers above the rushing river below, ready to start its trip on command. Dipper takes a folded piece of paper from his notebook and hands it to you and Ford. It reads, "Next stops upstream, beasts antechambers, 3 giant strides away. Next stop downstream, the mirror, 3 giant strides away. Get off the boat at your own risk." I'm guessing we don't go to the beast's antechambers. Can I check the river's speed? Find the river flows at 2 giant strides per tip of the hourglass. So when did you want to stop the boat? Okay. 1.5 tips of the hourglass. 30 minutes. Nicely done. You command the boat to take you 1.5 tips of the hourglass. Following the flow of the river, the boat comes to a stop at the entrance to a hallway, and the three of you step out to a familiar stone floor. Burning torches line the walls, lighting the hall briefly as you enter. As you walk forward, you notice your steps are visible in the thick layer of dust on the floor. This place smells old. At the end of the hallway, the cart approaches a set of 2 giant oak doors. Mech Ranger, roll to see how aware you are of your surroundings. You roll and are unsuccessful. Alex steps on something, a trap panel set into the floor. You watch in astonishment as a ghostly skull floats out of it, rising to about eye level just in front of the oak doors. You expect it to speak or do something, but it just floats there. What do? I'm gonna take a little peek at that skull. The skull looks non-human, but you don't know enough to say what species it is. Expect to do it. You don't know much about doors, but you can tell that these ones are giant oak and that there's 2 of them. Oh gee. I'm gonna ignore that skull. Just as you're about to touch the door, the skull speaks. Knock. Its voice is loud and booming, enough to match the grandeur of the giant oak doors behind it. Vernon knocks on the door. The skull asks, "Who's there?" Spell who? W-H-O. Dipper grins at the classic. That is terrible. Okay, next. The skull demands more joke offerings. Knock knock. Who's there? To. To who? It's to whom. Oh, fuck you. This one gets Dipper to laugh, whether through the sheer smugness in Ford's voice or otherwise. Alright, you both pass. The door opens and... April bursts through the doorway. I knew it! You always make those voices when you're playing your nerd games. Mech Ranger, playing with them too. How's homework the game? Actually, we're telling knock-knock jokes. Mabel gasps. I could beat all of you. Get ready for this. Knock knock. Who's there? Clean clothes. Clean clothes who? Yeah, I thought you forgot what clean clothing looks like. Mabel, geez, we're in front of a guest right now. Mabel laughs and leaves again, and then before directing you a pair of finger guns. Good luck seducing that hot elf! Dipper calls out after her. That hot elf isn't even in this campaign. Anyway, like I was saying, as Joe Corda meant, the skull gives you a curt nod and floats back into the trap panel. The oak doors open, and the three of you step through, to freedom. And there it is, the end of the dungeon. I cut it down a bit on the fly. I didn't want to make it too long. I would have ran a murder and mystery if I had planned out for ages, but my test runs have never gone very well with my focus group. So, what'd you think? Yeah, when do we fight that motherfucking sorcerer? This was actually a transition into the next super plot-centric campaign about infiltrating the Sorcerer's Tower castle. Dipper shows you a couple pages of his campaign book, which looks to be filled with various dungeon sketches with realistic physics calculations crowded into every spare space. Well, Dipper, I think you did well. It's not easy, adding in an extra layer on short notice like that. I always write it in just in case, not completely, just a few notes. Ford and Dipper launch into a conversation about dungeon mastering as they clean up the DAMD setup, returning the game components to their original glossy fantasy box. They're too fast and practiced for you to figure out how to help, so you just pick up the dice Ford lent you and return them to their original velvet bag. Dipper leaves to put the DDAMD box back upstairs, and then it's just you and Ford. Oh my god, is that the hot elf that Mabel was talking about? Ranger, you did well for a first timer. I take you into a dungeon. What do you mean you take me into a dungeon with you? What kind of dungeon we talking about here, huh? I mean, Ford gives you an embarrassed smile, but you're already smiling at him yourself. Yeah, I know what you meant for it. Oh, yeah, I do know. I know what you mean, Mr. Ford. A call comes from the kitchen, from what sounds like Stan. Well, I talk more, but I'd better see what he needs. Ford moves past you, heading towards the kitchen. You suddenly feel the need to hold on to this moment, like you need to say something. Ford? Yes? Now that he's looking at you, you don't remember what you're going to say. All you say is, here's your set of dice pad. Thanks for letting me use it. Ford chuckles, shaking his head. No, you keep it, in case you decide to join us again next time. See you at dinner, Mech Ranger. God damn, that one was pretty fucking short, actually. I wonder how long until I get into his dungeon. God